Jesus. All right, we're closing Spotify. I accidentally played music. It was loud. There we go. That sounds better though. I think I reset something. Cool.
Let's go.
Hello and welcome to the Warrior House podcast, where Warrior Pride lives. I'm your host, Ryan Reingart, joined by my co-host, Mike Sangster. Thank you for joining us on episode 109 of the Warrior House podcast. Getting to the end of spooky season, Sangster. We're getting up to the big day, Halloween. October is soon to be a thing of the past, and we're going to be into November. Hard to believe. If you talk to anybody, it feels like the year went by extremely fast, and we're all busy. We're all getting stuff done. You blink, and all of a sudden, it's
Yeah. Uh,
42 degrees at noon and during the day.
yeah, and you're waking up and it's dark at 7 o'clock, and that's not fun. I'm very ready
Yeah,
for daylight savings time to end. Uh, and it's getting up in the year because we have a new sport entering the chat, one that's going to take over a significant portion of our time now.
yeah, it sure is. It's always one of those sports that we really, really look forward to, and a fantastic event to kick off the season for that sport. So we'll get to that here in the second half. But first, we got a number of events that happened over this last week. A lot of cool things that happened, some rough things that happened. Lo and behold, we're going to start out with football, and same old, same old. We have to get on here and tell you that the Wayne State football team played back on Saturday. They played at Saginaw Valley in University Center, Michigan, and Saginaw Valley won 28 to 20 or 28 to 7. I wish it was that close. It would have made the game a whole heck of a lot more exciting.
Yeah.
Wayne State leaves this game with a net total 23 rushing yards and 134 passing yards. So the next sport on the docket here, Sangster, is cross country. Let's break this one down a little bit. If you got anything to break down, I honestly don't have a ton in this one. It's another one of those games that just we were never in it. It just the team isn't there. It's just
Yeah.
that nothing is clicking at this point in the season.
Yeah, you got it exactly right. And this is a Saginaw Valley team that really hungry coming into this game. They started the season out at least with 3 losses. Right now they're 4-0 in GLIAC play, including a big win uh, over Grand
Grand
Valley.
Valley.
They'll have Fair State coming up, but yeah, they still have some tests ahead of them. But Saginaw Valley right now, they're in that same position that Wayne State was in back in 2019, where yeah, they kind of had a rough non-conference. They turned it around. They're doing outstanding in GLIAC play right now, trying to vie to be a second GLIAC team that gets in. Kind of the big news in the GLIAC is that Ferris State again beat Grand Valley in the Anchor Bone game this past week. So right now, Ferris is the lone unbeaten in the conference, and unfortunately, Wayne State still is the lone unwinning in the conference.
Yeah,
Uh,
the goose egg and the W column team.
yeah, if there's one good thing that did come out of this game is that neither quarterback that played in this one, Champion Edwards or Justin Cox, neither threw an interception. That's positive steps. Unfortunately, the both of them combined for just 134 yards, passing the ball. Neither were able to run the ball very well at all. Uh, the net rushing yards doesn't tell the whole story. Uh, we did have a couple good runs out of here. Devon Bentley is still showing out. Uh, Short yardage totals, 4 attempts, 22 yards, but that's good for 5.5 yards per run. Sterling Anderson, he only had one run again for 6 yards. Positive things happening there. Xavier Tyus was kind of bottled up in this game, 8 attempts, 17 yards. Uh, but unfortunately, it's still not enough. The lone touchdown pass was to Donovan Isaac, and it was on his only catch of the game, a touchdown catch for 10 yards. Leading receiver, Angel Carrillo. That was a really good roll on that one.
Yeah, you do that way. I took a number, and I mean, I probably studied Spanish 3 years in high school and a year, maybe a year and a half in college. I can't roll the R for the life of me. I kind of like growl it
Yeah,
and fake my way through. But yeah, you just kind of ripped right through that like you were, you know, like
down
you've been
at
doing it forever.
what's the Mexican town restaurant we really like? Uh,
Oh, El Rey or no, Taqueria El Rey.
Yeah, yeah. Seven receptions, 64 yards, leading receiver on the day. He's turned it on over the past few games at least, but unfortunately, it's still just not enough to get past Saginaw Valley, who was just able to run all over the Warriors. 242 yards on the ground for them. 180 yards, nothing to sneeze at. They threw an interception. So again, some bright spots on Wayne State defensively. Certainly, it's their first game that they've kept it under 28 points. Every other game except for that Finley game has been over 30. So again, something there. 28 points shouldn't be insurmountable, but it it isn't right now. So
Yeah, no, I mean
it is.
we can't get to that. It's a really, really, really rough time because I mean what I was going to try to look up is like what was the number of offensive plays that we even ran? Like I don't know how many times we were really moving the chains to, take up some possession time, give the defense the rest. Like, yeah, the defense only gave up 28 points there. And you mentioned like credit to the offense, like no interceptions there. I think there was a fumble or two, maybe one lost fumble, two forced fumbles by Saginaw Valley in that one. So there were chances, but the ball turning over was not a huge story here. It just kind of seems like, if you moved the chains once, that was really it. We were never really in possession because like those 7 points were in the fourth quarter of this game. So by the time we got to that, it was 28 to Goose Egg.
Yeah, both teams did unfortunately make their mistakes, uh, but Saginaw Valley was able to at least move past some of the ones that they made. Wayne State had 60 plays overall. Saginaw had 66. But the difference here in total offense, Wayne State just had 157 yards, Saginaw Valley 399. And that's with them losing three fumbles and tossing an interception. So
Yeah. So
it is what it is, and it's a real shame to see.
yeah, I have a foreshadowing something that's not really much of a foreshadow at this point. We of course know what Ryan's going to talk about here in the second half, and if you don't know what I'm going to talk about here in the second half, please stay tuned because I have my verdict as I've been talking about all season, as far as where I'm at now and what if it were me, this is what I would do. So I'm going to talk about that here in the second half, and of course, Sangster, please chime in as we get to that with some of your opinions. But anything else on football before we kind of move on to some definitely better news?
Yeah, let's move on to the better stuff. It's a little sad talking about this. The
So
cross
yeah,
country
let's talk good. Sangster, what cross country? What do we got?
cross country was out at the GLIAC Championships in Grand Rapids this past Saturday. Both teams finished in fourth place. Women finished fourth out of 11th, and the men finished fourth out of ninth. On the women's side, your best runners were Ava Peters placing 15th and Ella Showerman placing 25th. And on the men's side, your top three in the top 25 were Glenn Davis placing 14th, Sean Pettis placing 18th, and Jared Platt placing 20th.
Yeah, Coach Lofdahl had a couple of quotes on this, as he was getting questioned about what his thoughts were on both of these teams. On the women's side of things, he said it was a bittersweet day. The sweet part of it is you had two runners for the Wayne State women's cross country team, Ava Peters and Ella Showerman, as you mentioned, Sangster, competing at an all GLIAC level. They were second team all GLIAC in this event. So that is fantastic to see. Also, we have nothing to do with the fact that Ella Showerman is running incredibly fast right now and doing some great things. That's all her. Still funny to me that, we can kind of keep going back and forth with that. But the bitter part, of course, being that, he's not happy with that team at a fourth place finish. Over on the men's side of things, he kind of echoed what we talked about here was he applauded the top three runners for Wayne State and acknowledging that there's a lot of improvement to be had, meaning that after those top three, there was a pretty big fall off behind, between in fourth and fifth place for the Wayne State men's cross country team, kind of pulling them down in the standings a little bit because third place was not far off for this team. So they were really close to getting a podium finish. But the good news on the men's cross country side, all top seven of the runners, there were no seniors in there. So what does that mean? It means, well, for the rest of this season and next season, we're likely going to see a lot of the same runners and maybe even the season after that as we lose like one or two runners here and there. So there's a lot of opportunity in front of this team as we get into the coming seasons, but really cool stuff there. So I was happy to hear that Coach Lofdahl, I was, trying to dig around in some of the quotes there to see what his thoughts were, but some really, really insightful things from him. And again, reason for optimism with both of these teams, just kind of where they stand right now.
Yeah, for sure. Good stuff from them, and we'll be waiting to see uh, if any runners end up making it to the Midwest Regional. We'll certainly be talking about that later
So,
on.
funny enough, on that point, Jeff actually got in our email and mentioned that both of these teams will be at regionals. To my
Excellent.
knowledge, everybody makes it out to regionals. So, from there, of course, it's collectively as teams, how many of the teams get to nationals? It sounds like three from every region generally, and then there's, of course, as we've seen, some individual runners. I do believe that get invites from that. So, we'll have to see what happens there, but yeah, I mean, there's a huge opportunity coming up for both of those teams.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that once that rolls around. Not a team score here, but the men's and women's swim and dive team had the annual alumni meet at Wayne State last Friday. Again, no team score here. Hope it was fun. Certainly an opportunity for some grown people to compete against the youngins uh, at Wayne State right now. Give them some pointers, talk about what it's like to be a Wayne, what it means to be a Wayne State Warrior.
Yeah, no doubt. So really cool event there. Moving on over, the Wayne State men's tennis team headed over to Cleveland, Ohio this past weekend for the Viking Invitational hosted by Cleveland State University, Duquesne, Niagara, Youngstown State University, and allegedly some members of the Case Western Reserve were there, as well as Cleveland State. No surprise there. Talking about the singles highlights here, Wayne State had three of the final four in this one for singles, and that is very impressive to me. George Day, Harry Forsyth, and Benjamin Hill, they all go 3-1. And then, of course, and as well as Tom Wasner ends up going 4-1 there. A member of the Youngstown State squad ended up winning the singles in this one. So, bummer there. You get most of the final four and you can't come away with a win there. But at the end of the day, my goodness, you owned the final four basically. So really cool stuff there. Quickly over on the double sides of things, because there was a doubles tournament as well. Sam Knowles and Tom Wasner ended up going 4-0. And guess who won the title? The team that didn't lose a single match. Sam Knowles and Tom Wasner. So they end up getting the title in this one for the doubles. Really cool stuff for that squad. And it's just, again, more excitement for this team as they get closer to their season, kind of, really, really kicking off here in early 2026.
Yeah, good stuff here. Like we were saying, we were expecting some Division One teams to show up to this one. Obviously, we know Niagara from basketball; they're a Division One team. They might not play football. Youngstown State is a FCS team. Cleveland State is a member of the Horizon. Uh, Duquesne is a basketball school too. So
They are. And I remember quick, I think it was 2025, just this year. I think Duquesne was one of those basketball teams that I picked as an upset. I want to say they ended up winning too, because I want to say we were watching that one as it was unfolding. But yeah, they are very, very much a basketball school. I have to assume from somewhere in the Northeast or Pennsylvania. But yeah, I mean, really cool competition there. And to see Wayne State, I don't want to say roll through that competition because we didn't win both titles, but we
but they
really
showed up.
competed at a
We back
very
up.
high level.
Yeah, and some Wayne State connections to a couple of these universities. Brian Smothers came from a coaching job at Niagara. Uh, Andy Tollners came from Cleveland State. And fun fact, Case Western Reserve used to play in the pack with Wayne State back in the 50s. So teams that historically Wayne State has some connection to.
Wouldn't you know, Duquesne's out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Chalk one up for Ryan. I know my colleges occasionally. Women's tennis, Sangster, what do we have?
Saturday, the 25th, Wayne State was hosting a doubles tournament, hosting uh, Finley, Tiffin, and Division One, Oakland University. Uh, Wayne State kind of split this one. They went 9-7 overall. Malik Arafat and Martin Spakosko went 3-1. The rest of the double squads went 2 for 2.
Yeah, see, Martin's last name is a name that I definitely, if I had to pick somebody to just absolutely knock it out of the park, it would be you. So hearing you roll that R still, oh my gosh, Carrillo, I can't do it. So yeah, good stuff from our
Got the
women's tennis
Spanish
team
and I
there.
got the Polish. Let's go. I don't really have any Spanish heritage. I do have a lot of Polish, so there we go.
Yeah. So good stuff from the two of them, but yeah, I mean, some yeah, high quality competition there. I mean, I didn't actually end up looking at the bracket here to figure out, how Oakland fared in this one. You would think it'd be pretty well, being that they were the lone D1 team in this one, but nonetheless, Malik Arafat and Martin Spakoska, as you mentioned, are kind of the two that we're really looking at for this team to see. Be your number one and number two of this team, be your top doubles pairing here, and everybody else kind of show up, do your best, get a couple wins here and there, and like this team's going to be able to go pretty far. So again, their season really doesn't get underway until January, I want to say. So we'll be talking about them here in a couple of weeks, I'm sure. But for the time being, I believe that ends their time for a little bit of time here. And with that, Sangster, we are on to the sport of the
of the season.
fall. Yeah, I mean the one that's really just not carrying the fall season, but the team that's just outperforming and just continuing to keep my attention. And anybody who follows volleyball or Wayne State athletics should know about this Wayne State volleyball team. My goodness, we got to watch a little bit of them on the Flow Sports, on the Tube, as some of us millennial and Gen X will call it. Back on Friday, Wayne State volleyball took on Michigan Tech at home at the Mathi. Wayne State won this one by a final score of 3-1. We smoked Michigan Tech in set one, set two, and set four. Michigan Tech kind of gave us a pretty good beat down in set three. And statistically, this was a pretty even match, except when you look at the ace column. The number of aces that Wayne State got, 15. That is a lot of points where your team doesn't really have to do a whole lot. Your server hits that ball over the net. I don't know what kind of screwball, spitball, curveball, fastball they're sending over, but whatever was going on this day, Wayne State had that under control. No surprise here. The Kayla's dominated the stat sheet. Kayla Drew and Kayla Dahlger. Great stuff from them. And then rolling into Saturday, Sangster, Wayne State takes on Northern Michigan. And you and I were watching this one. This was an adversity match. This was, we said it a couple of weeks ago, good teams find a way to win in the face of adversity. And this was the definition of that. We really got challenged on our home court, and I'll kind of let you do a little bit of the breakdown of this game here, but I wanted to call it out that like this was such an impressive win that I was a little bit doubting there for a while that like, okay, well, we're on our home court. We're going to go 1-1. And this team said, nah, we're going to win this one. So I wanted to call this out. This was adversity at its finest.
Let's just talk little bit about how close this match was. Wayne State won set one by a whopping 2 points, the 2 match points you need. They dropped set two and three by 4 points. They come up and they win set four, probably the biggest margin of the season. I don't have what they won it by right now. 25-8 is the largest against Upper Iowa that they set.
Yeah, this one was 25-9.
So yeah, 25-9, pretty close to that, just dominating them. And then props to Northern Michigan. They come out in the fifth set, short set, and it's back and forth. It felt like the entire set there. Wayne State was able to win set five in extra points. I don't have it pulled up in front of me. I should have. Something like
it was 17-15.
17-15. 2 more than the 15 you need, just back and forth between Northern Michigan and Wayne State all day. A really good attack percentage, I think, by Wayne State. Lots of errors, though, that Wayne State made. Some of them forced by Northern Michigan, and props. Northern Michigan is a good volleyball team. I'll do a little bit of a standings breakdown in the next segment. They're not far behind Wayne State right now. I think they were tied coming in, or close to it right now. Northern Michigan is 7-3. Wayne State's 8-2. Real close matchup, and it showed in this one.
Yeah, we talked very briefly in the last episode. This is the only time we get to play Northern Michigan in the regular season. Something tells me that we're going to see them again when we get into GLIAC tournament play, but this was our one shot at them. So it was a very, very important, like, it's not one of those, like, they get you get a chance to go back up there and try to steal one in their home court. So, like, to get this win is absolutely enormous. And, I was feeling that as we were watching this one. Again, here, Kayla's on the stat sheet. I mean, Kayla Giroux, Kayla Dahlger, I don't think enough can be said about the impact that both of them have on this team. But with that being said, Leah Baldwin is the one I want to give a shout out on this one. She had 15 kills and a 522 attack percentage. So again, for every time she was attacking the ball, over 52.2% of the time she was getting the point off of that attack. That's very impressive to me. And I know Kayla Giroux had a similar attack percentage. And again, as we were talking about the attack percentage, the number of errors there, this one really felt like if we were attacking the ball, we were either getting the point off that shot, or it was going out of bounds or hitting the net. Like that was really it. So that seemed to be the way that this one worked out. Ended up making it a very close match, but at the end of the day, I don't care how we win. I don't care what the number of points are. They get the win here, a very, very important win, as I mentioned, against the one time that you get to play this Northern Michigan team and Michigan Tech for what it's worth. So, and you handle your business at home. Two straight wins on your home court. Can't beat that.
Right. And one thing we forgot to mention about this game, this one was a wild one with the referee
Mm.
situation. They just between sets one and two or two and three, just one of the umpires or refs, I think in the center, just pieced out for whatever reason. They never really said why, if they had a medical issue or something. And there's a huge break between uh, one of the sets, and we're like, man, what's going on? Like both teams were just hanging out on their side of the net. They really weren't. They were just trying to stay loose, not sitting on the bench or anything. They end up pulling a guy out of the stands. Presumably he was an NCAA ref for something.
I
We're
think
not
they
really
did
sure
say a
what.
Northern Michigan student, if I'm not mistaken. So it was
Right.
somebody who works like basketball games and maybe some volleyball games that just happened to be in attendance.
Yeah, but that
Also,
was
really quick
crazy.
note there, really quick note there. I just said like that this was on Wayne State's court. It was not. Of course, this was up in the Upper Peninsula, but that was a very, very wild situation.
Yeah, and it was kind of funny because they moved this guy to just the back line judge, and you got the refs in their bright blue getups, and he gets this one guy in his khakis and long sleeve polo. It was pretty wild to see.
Yep.
And wrapping this one up, uh, both Kayla Giroux and Kayla Dolger got GLIAC Players of the Week. Kayla Giroux, Defensive Player of the Week. Kayla Dolger, Setter of the Week. This is the third time now this season that they've had that honor.
Yeah, again, I don't think enough can be said. I don't think enough words can be thrown their way to prove and to like really tell the full story about what they mean to this team. But the two of them are just so reliable, and they're always getting like all of the numbers for the team and just really showing up and not really. It doesn't seem like they're ever having a off day. And if I jinxed it, sorry everybody. But yeah, the two of them are just fantastic. And Paige Geitbrock, Leah Baldwin, I know are also doing a fantastic job there. So love this volleyball team. They're so much fun to follow. I think they're doing an amazing job. Cannot wait to see what happens as we close out this regular season, which is coming up faster than you might think. And as they get into postseason, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see them. So, with that saying, sir, that's all we had over the last week. As you mentioned here in the coming week, we have a new sport coming into the chat. So we're going to be talking about that here as well as a couple of other sports. But with that, we'll take a quick break and we'll be back to talk about all of the things Wayne State athletics.
Do you want to save football for the end?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do. Downs shot of Malort.
Hmm.
Anybody like that doesn't everybody should watch on YouTube or watch the short videos, and hopefully this makes it onto the short videos because like we're talking about football and it's like what a rough thing to have to talk about right now because man, there's it's not all that fun. Like I don't need to have fun talking about it, but like what a rough situation.
Incredibly. Incredibly.
And Grand Valley gets to come to town on my birthday.
Hmm.
Then 2 years ago, they came to town on the wedding day. So it's just, uh, and they're somehow still ranked number 25, and they're having a very, very down year, and they're still in the rankings. But for whatever reason, not in the regional rankings, which makes you think, like, what do
The
rankings even mean?
rankings do not it's a small data point that they can use, but they don't need to use them.
Yeah, they ignore it
It
like
is a
crazy.
intricacy of Division II football, and even with uh, this is a YouTube special here. Even with the changes they've made, it's now they've shuffled up the super regions a bit. So now you get more of we get the GMAC instead of whatever other conference it was, and now it's 8 teams instead of 7, with the number one getting a bye. Uh, and I think the only thing now that the only not only other thing, but the thing they've also changed is there is now conference champion auto bids. You actually didn't have an
Hmm.
auto bid before, uh, even though it was highly unlikely a conference champion would make it. But now it's officially an auto bid. But even still, the regional rankings don't have the number one seed isn't might be the number one seed, but it still doesn't matter about like competition or anything. In Division Two, all they care about is minimizing costs. So they'll try and uh, group some up more by region, I think is still how they're doing it.
Interesting.
Yep.
Well, congratulations, Fair State.
Yeah, right now, absent a collapse by the GMAC teams, I think I tweeted out that, man, if it shakes out that a couple more GMAC get in than the GLIAC, maybe that move wasn't so dumb after all. Now,
Yeah,
I doubt that they would want, and I would strongly protest if Wayne State were to try and make a move for the GMAC. That just isn't the schools there are not our profile. We should not be, and right now we can't even beat them. But
not in football.
no,
We can beat them in other sports.
well, football is no matter what anybody wants to say. I always believe that football drives the bus, but
Oh yeah,
yeah,
and basketball is the co-pilot,
yep. And
and
I
volleyball is in front and is in the middle seat.
and you know what? I would still take a winless Wayne State season than not having a Wayne State football season at all.
There we go. There's the YouTube special right there. So
Yep.
whoever's listening on YouTube, congratulations. You just got the insight of like you went in the Sangster's mind of like the cymbal banging
Yeah.
monkey.
The thought of dropping football is such an 80s Wayne State mentality because it did happen that they almost did it because not because of anything fun or because of cost. And what a dumb reason to cancel it for that. So, nope, I'm very glad we have a football team still. I wouldn't trade it for nothing. I just want them to be better.
Sure. All
Alrighty,
right, Sangster, shall we get rolling into
hop
part
into
two?
it.
Cool. And we're back. Um, So, for those who are listening on Spotify, which I know a number of people do, if you don't listen to us on YouTube Live, you don't have to, but like we have some fun little banter in between segments. So, just kind of a little shout out there, and it may end up making it onto the social media locations. But
And if you're not
yeah,
listening live, you can go back and watch our YouTube channel too. They're all posted there.
that's true. Just to know, YouTube is live, so go in between segments if you want to catch up on what Ryan and Sangster talked about in the intermission, other than refilling our drinks or bathroom break. Um, New sport has entered the chat, Sangster, and it's a wild one. It's really, really early on for this one, and this is a brand new event. Like this is, to my knowledge, has not been done. Definitely not in our time.
Nope.
I don't know if this has ever been done. And this is a fantastic event. As I dug more into it, I was like, this is a really, really cool event. Wayne State men's basketball is getting underway. But before we get to that, when I woke up this morning and the sun was still down at 7:02 a.m., the Motor City Cruise posted out. I just happened to stumble upon something they posted up on social media, which is their training camp roster. And I'm scrolling through and I see Jaden Akins on there. I see Tolu Smith, a couple of other names that I'm familiar with. And then I see Ray Williams. And I was like, Ray Williams? Is there a chance that that's, and I go into the comments and a couple people were tagging Ray Williams Jr., a very recent graduate of Wayne State University. And yeah, sure enough, Ray Williams Jr. is on the training camp roster for the Motor City Cruise. Going to be playing at the facility that he played at for Wayne State for a number of years at this point, most of his collegiate career.
Yep.
So I'm very interested to see how he does. Especially as they get closer to the regular season, see if he can actually make the team. I mean, that would be absolutely fantastic. I always thought that as the Motor City Cruise and Wayne State University kind of collaborated on the field house, that there would be some sort of way for our players to have that next step. Like if you prove that you can, show up, if you practice, if you're improving, you got the right mindset and all that, that at the very least, we'll give you an opportunity to make it into a G League team That's amazing. Like University of Michigan doesn't have that in their same facility. Michigan State doesn't have that. Eastern, Western, Central, they don't have that.
U of
And
D.
we do. It's one of those things that sets Wayne State apart at this point is the collaboration, kind of the foot in the door, if you will, with an NBA team and their farm league, if you will. So I think that's a really cool thing. I'm very interested to see how Ray Williams does. Definitely rooting for him. Uh, but yeah, I think I just wanted to call that one out. Extremely cool opportunity that he has.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many are actually kept on the G League roster after training camp cut down. Certainly, you would like to hope that Ray Williams can find a way onto there. No matter what happens, though, I really think that Coach Smothers needs to print out that Instagram post real big, frame it, put it right front and center on the offices to the field house. Every recruit that comes through that door should see that you have an opportunity here at Wayne State. And he's certainly not the first guy to go professional. Maybe not necessarily NBA, but uh, G League. Hey, you're getting paid. Colin Golson is overseas still. In as he was in Azerbaijan last I saw. Latin Davis also comes to mind from a few years ago that he also played overseas. So you know, Wayne State is no stranger to sending guys to professional basketball if that's a route they want to go. Not everybody wants to go play overseas, but you've got a G League team right here. Somebody's going to notice you.
Yeah, absolutely. So really cool stuff for him. So for those listening, definitely follow along with the Motor City Cruise on Instagram. They are roommates, if you will, at the Wayne State Fieldhouse. Their headquarters, their training facility is right over there with the Detroit Pistons off of Second Avenue in Midtown. Really cool stuff from them. And we've been following them since they moved to the Fieldhouse. So with that, why is the Wayne State basketball team coming up? There's this new, I don't even want to call it an event, Sangster, because it's not an event. It's like a whole weekend like festivity
Yeah.
that's new. And I want to say it's well, let's just get into it. It's called Hoops and Culture. And the actual games themselves are happening on Thursday, October 30th at the Fieldhouse. And this is through, you got to get, while I'm talking about this, Sangster, if you can get the name of this one, there's a lot of festivities going on beyond the fact that there's 4 exhibition games happening at the Wayne State Fieldhouse again on Thursday, October 30th. But there's a number of events going around within the city around this, I don't know, the
I think
event.
event is the best term for it. It's put on by the Horatio Williams Foundation. I got to look up and see what that is. It is essentially it's an HBCU resource fair that's going to happen, I believe, before the games, and then the next day is going to be the actual games themselves. There are going to be 4 games played at Wayne State. The teams that we know that are going to be there are Grand Valley, Wayne State, Detroit Mercy, and Eastern Michigan. And then Wayne State is going to play that exhibition game against Talladega College. Detroit Mercy will be playing Central State. And I had the other two. I'm blanking on what the other
Yeah, I
two
got the other two. Yeah,
games.
Eastern
Yep.
Michigan's taking on Tuskegee out of Alabama.
Yep.
Grand Valley's taking on Wilberforce out of Wilberforce, Ohio. And as you mentioned, Central State, who's also out of Wilberforce. By the way, if you look up the Google Maps, they are approximately across the street from each other in Wilberforce, Ohio. It's very interesting. And I'm sure there's some
That's a
kind of
lot closer
history
than Wayne
there.
State and Detroit Mercy.
Yeah, it's like Gonzaga and I think was it Washington State or Eastern Washington, where they're like on the opposite sides of rivers from each other.
Yep.
But of course, yes, like as you mentioned, Wayne State is taking on Talladega College. They're approximately 15 minutes away from Talladega Super Speedway in Alabama. Very, very, very cool event. So, I mean, if you are a college basketball fan, which we are, and unfortunately, this is happening on a Thursday, so it's I think noon, 2:35, and 7:30 game happening all at the field house back to back. Super cool stuff here. I hope a ton of people show up to this one. And thank you for getting the name. Thanks to Horatio Williams. They are in Detroit. It is a foundation that's in Detroit. Don't remember exactly where. They're somewhere downtown, if I'm not mistaken, or over on the east side. But
Yeah, their big tagline here is empowering future leaders through sports, education, and community.
Yeah, so just a really really cool event. And again, like I said, I hope a lot of people show up to this one. I hope a lot of people have fun. I hope it's impactful, and I hope things like this continue because we have the facility for it. We're accessible city, especially for a lot of the cities that we're talking about here, colleges. But with that being said, there's not a lot to talk about with this Wayne State basketball team yet. We could run down the roster, but we're still about 2 weeks away from this team really kicking off the season, and there's a bunch of other sports to be able to talk about here. So we're gonna kind of set them aside a little bit. We're definitely going to be following along and we're going to recap everything from this event, all the numbers, stats, and all that kind of stuff, and how impactful this was if we can find any information about this. But I wanted to call it out as a really, really cool thing that the university is, probably the athletics department mostly, is uh, really pushing for. And this type of stuff really excites me, Sangster.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge event, like we said. Starting out really on the 29th, there's going to be a wellness talk at the Cambria, where we were last year for one of our friends' events. Again, the games that we just talked about, there's also going to be the Hoops and Culture Q&A session hosted by the Gilbert Family Foundation as well at the Field House. Looks like kind of going on at that same time, just before the games tip off. So if that's something you're interested in about the HBCUs, uh, looks like an outstanding event hosted by the Horatio Williams Foundation and Wayne State University.
Most definitely. So really cool stuff there. Moving right along because the home events don't stop, Sangster. And as a matter of fact, they're not going to stop because we're going to be talking about there's so much going on this weekend at Wayne State, and this is a fantastic weekend. So on Friday, October 31st, Halloween, the men's tennis team is going to be doing the Mike Neal doubles tournament. And this is always a fantastic event. We've talked about the history of Mike Neal. He was a Wayne State men's tennis player and unfortunately passed away. God, I wish I could remember. We talked about it last year, the year before, but definitely an alumni of Wayne State. Was a fantastic tennis player. Named this event after him. And when we were at the Wayne State football game about a week and a half ago at this point against Davenport, we were talking to some of the tennis players, and they were saying this was their next event coming up. So really cool event here, and definitely excited to see what comes out of this one. And again, Sangster, it does not end there. There are more. Oh, I just saw you put a note in here. We got Tiffin and Finley that are going to be a part of this one, right?
Yep, that's correct.
So cool stuff there. And again, it does not end. Wayne State volleyball is also going to be at home. They come into this coming weekend with an overall record of 16-4, conference record 8-2. And I really wish it was 9-1 because I'm going to continue to think about that Davenport match. And it's funny that I mentioned that because we got Davenport coming in this weekend. But before we get to Davenport, first of all, 6 games left in this regular season, Sangster. And who do we got coming to town?
Well, we got Ferris State coming to town. Ferris State is right now number 15 in the country in Division Two. Uh, and it warrants a discussion of the standings here because, like you said, 6 games to go, including the two this week. Right now, Ferris State is in first with a conference record of 9-1. Guess who's in second? Wayne State, with a record of 8-2, followed up with a tie for third between Grand Valley, Davenport, Northern Michigan. Uh, Tied for 4, 5, sixth is Parkside and Michigan Tech at 5-5. Tied for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is Purdue Northwest at 4-6. And then at the bottom, tied for ninth, Saginaw Valley, Roosevelt, and Lake Superior State are all 1-9. Needless to say, Halloween's going to be a huge, huge, huge game for the Wayne State Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But before the recording started, you and I were talking a little bit about some of the stats around volleyball, and that is that, what are some of the stats that really kind of matter? And to me, the total number of points scored doesn't really matter that much. What does matter to me is, points per set, hitting percentage, I guess like assist percent. Basically, when we get these numbers down to how many do you average per set, that's kind of what really matters to me. And, as we're talking about Ferris State, they're third in points per set. Wayne State's sitting there in fourth per set, and this is for conference only. So, there's a number of things that I kind of look at and say, like, man, we got a really, really good chance here. And like, yeah, Ferris State kind of, took it to us when we were out there. I think they ended up winning 3-1 there, so that was definitely a bit of a bummer. But yeah, if you want to spend your Halloween with the Wayne State Warriors, they are scary, scary good, and this is a huge event here. And I kind of wish this one wasn't on Halloween, but nonetheless, really good opportunity here.
Yeah, probably the biggest game now, I think, of the regular season, and an important game that it's I think it's been a while, I think, since you could say that Wayne State played a truly meaningful game in volleyball towards this time of the year, end of October, going into November. Only a few games left before the conference tournament. There's a big difference between vying for that, number one seed overall in the conference tournament, vying for a regular season title versus just trying to get into the tournament. Both kind of end you in the same place, but there's just something more about it with this one.
Yeah, not I don't actually recall if you said it, but like the fact that this game means that you would be tied for first place and you can pay Ferris State back. And all of these things, like it just shows how big of a match that this one is. And yeah, I'm really hoping that this team, at the very least, come out of there feeling good about the effort that you put up. Win or loss, feel really good about it and feel like you did everything that you needed to do in order to go out there and get a win on your home court. If things work out your way, go trick or treating until 2 a.m. I don't care what you need to do. Well, don't do that because there's a match the next day, but like enjoy it, feel good about yourself, know that you're tied for first place in GLIAC volleyball standings. And then Saturday rolls around, Sangster, November 1st. Might I say the greatest day of the year for reasons that, only I understand. That's when my birthday is. But really good opportunity here for the Wayne State volleyball team to come back and give it back to Davenport. We went out there about a month ago, a little over a month ago at this point, to take on Davenport. And like I said, they gave us a loss. And in a match that I think our team felt like we should have been able to go out there and win, we weren't able to make that happen. And that was the only weekend that we got, back-to-back losses in GLIAC play. And by the way, those are the only two losses that this team has had so far this conference season.
Yeah, and it's another big game for Wayne State. Davenport comes in with a 7-3 conference record, 18-4, or I'm sorry, 11-9 overall. Uh, right now, conference record is all that matters. They're vying for that third place spot right now, and unfortunately, if Wayne State just happens to drop that game against Ferris, Davenport's going to be coming in hungry, I think, to try and move up in the standings, just like Wayne State is. They will be playing Grand Valley the day previous in Allendale, so a huge matchup for them as well. So a big, big weekend of GLIAC volleyball action. Certainly some movement going to be happening no matter the outcome.
Yeah, my hope is that, well, of course, by the next time that we're talking, this Wayne State volleyball team is at least, tied for first place. I haven't really looked at the schedule, but I assume that the travel part, or well, the other teams, both of these, Ferris State and Davenport, are going to be playing the Saginaw Valley, which
Nope,
is not them.
nope. Ferris is going to be playing Grand Valley in Allendale after they play us.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I stand corrected. So, that's a really big one. So, might
Another
it be
big
the
game
fourth?
for them. Like huge GLIAC volleyball weekend.
Yeah, it's probably the fourth time in my life that I said it, but go Grand Valley at that point. I mean, like let's pull fares down a little bit. Let's get up there. But yeah, I mean, this is just a huge weekend for this team. So, go Wayne State volleyball. Let's get that big win against Ferris State, and let's play on November 1st against Davenport with everything to play for there, and just make it known that you are the best in the GLIAC. You have the best team. You have some of the best players. You have all GLIAC talent here, and just everything is clicking for this team right now. And I think we're going to be talking some really good stuff next week, Sangster. So, with that, the last sport that we have to talk about is football. And I'm going to let you kick this one off, Sangster, because as I mentioned in the first half, I have my verdict, but I gotta take a couple breaths before I get to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll talk about what's actual, not about the whole referendum on the season, but just what's happening on Saturday. Grand Valley comes to town. 1 o'clock game, Saturday, November 1st. Grand Valley comes in 4-3, 2-2. We all know Wayne State is unfortunately donut. Uh, by all accounts, like we said earlier, Grand Valley is having, by their standards, a down season. 4-3, 2-2 wouldn't look too bad for us right now, but that is what it is. That's kind of where both programs are at right now. Grand Valley State, kind of just like Saginaw Valley, is fighting to stay alive for their playoff hopes. Again, right now, the way that the bracketology is looking, it's not looking so great, but for them, it starts with showing that, hey, we're still one of the top dogs in the region, and it's Wayne State's job right now to go and prove everybody wrong, I think. Show them what this is our home turf. It's senior day, real early senior day this year. Throughout the record books, it's the lone trophy game that Wayne State has. It's if Wayne State wins, it's unfortunately the only trophy that they would be getting this year if they can pull it off. That's Saturday for you.
Yeah. So of course, I mean, we've been talking about this a lot. Michigan Tech, Davenport, Saginaw Valley were the three games that I was looking at. And those are generally, my three teams that over the last couple of seasons in GLIAC play have been right in the middle of the GLIAC standings. You could make an argument that Grand Valley is now in that conversation of in that middle tier because Saginaw Valley and Fair State are clearly the top two. You could make that argument. That's generally not been the case, though. So this game against Grand Valley, is kind of a null point to me because my verdict is if I'm in charge, which I'm not, so I fully acknowledge I am not in charge, a coaching change needs to happen. It's time. We have not gotten more competitive with the GLIAC, and this is not just like that's not my scale of what needs to happen. It's the scale of the head coach of the Wayne State football team, Tyrone Wheatley, that we need to be competitive with the conference. If we're not competitive with the conference, and this is 3 seasons now, the 3 games that I was looking at, we've not even looked competitive, let alone win. We haven't even looked competitive. It hasn't even been close in those 3 games. So again, you can make an argument that this weekend is maybe one of those games that should matter. But at that point, we're looking at a 1-3 record against those 4 games. And to me, I haven't seen anything that says that this is going to improve. I've seen everything to say that this is kind of where we're at. And again, if I'm the one in charge, which again I'm not, I'm making a change at the end of this season. Now, with that being said, if it were up to me, where does a change need to be made? Well, we have senior weekend coming up, as you mentioned, Sangster. Like, this season we're kind of done with this season at this point. Like, there's no postseason to be had. Do you make a change before senior day? I've kind of gone back and forth a little bit. I don't love the idea of making a change before that. Let's let the seniors play it out. They've been with this coaching staff for the head coach for a while now at this point. And if it were up to me, yeah. What's that?
And we're a little late now. It's a couple days before game day.
Sure, yeah. It's pretty clear that nothing's going to happen at that point. But if it were up to me, I would wait until after senior day. Yeah. And then my decision is going to be made off of, do I think that we have the next person in house? Do I think that somebody is in-house currently that could take over? I tend to think that there is, just based on some of the things that I have seen online about, over the years, especially back when Coach Wheatley was getting hired on, the name that was getting thrown around a lot. I think there is somebody that is worth seeing. Can this person lead this team over these last 2 weeks? If it were up to me, that's what I would do. But at the end of the day, regardless of how it happens at the start of next football season, I think there needs to be a different person in charge of this Wayne State football team. I think I've seen everything that I need to see.
I agree with you. I am going to throw out the caveat that if Wayne State ends up winning their last 2 games of the season, not this one, but the next 2, yes, I am 100% on board with you. If they can find a way to win this game and the last 2 games of the season end up 3-0, but one of those 3 is a win against Grand Valley, I'm not gonna say yes, I'm 100% on board. Let's keep them. Let's reopen that conversation. Just kind of where you were at, I think, if they had beaten Saginaw Valley, and then assuming that they have the last two wins against Roosevelt and Northern. Uh, so kind of in Supercross, there's what's called the last chance qualifier, where you have two heat races in the beginning. If you're not top uh, 10 in whichever heat race you ride, then you have one more chance to make the main event. You have to finish in the top five, basically, of that last chance qualifier. Very difficult to do. No guarantee that you end up even winning the main event, but it's enough to say that you made the main event. That's kind of think where what this Grand Valley game means to me is that if you can, right now the door is closed. If you win this game, you've at least reopened the door. There's still more to do the last two games of the season, but at least that door is reopened. Otherwise, I am on board with you that, yeah, this door is closed.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And I think that's a very fair opinion there. It's we talked about this being a down, and I was not looking at this Grand Valley game. Much like I said, I wasn't really looking at the Fair State game. Like it just historically, and by historically, I mean over the last 5, 6 years, Fair State has been Fair State.
Yeah.
Grand Valley has been Grand Valley. Especially after 2019. Like even in 2019, they weren't doing amazing, but the history has been that they have been the top. So that's why I kind of ignored those games. And even at this point, like that's why I ignore the Grand Valley and the Fair State game. And I do hear where you're coming from. Where yeah, I mean you beat that team. That's a pretty big game. We've made it very clear over the decades that Wayne State versus Grand Valley is a big one. So we'll see what happens, but I
Yeah.
just maybe it's a little bit of I don't even know if it's pessimism at this point because it's reality
It's
that we
valid.
don't win football games. So
No,
maybe there's a
no.
little bit of that coming into the conversation here, but ultimately I have seen what's happened over the season, non-conference and conference, and I have, just it's at the point now that to me it doesn't feel like things are going to improve. They could, but right now I think my verdict has been made.
Yeah, and part of it is just how the schedule is played out. If certainly if we had played Grand Valley early in the season and we'll operate in reality and go by history and assume that that game would have been lost, and the rest of the games be the same. Say you ended before these last two that you ended with, say Michigan Tech, Davenport, Saginaw Valley. Then yeah, I'm 100%. It's just the way that the schedule has befallen. Yeah, there's in my mind there's still that one last way to at least reopen that door. But man, that door it still is shut, and if they can find a way to open it, props to them. But unfortunately, reality has not been kind to the Warriors, specifically with Grand Valley the past decades. Uh, but with this team, certainly the past 3 years, and I also bouncing off of what you said, it's year three now, and I've said it before that it's just not it's not even looking better. Like there are some things you can point to beyond the score, the box score, uh, beyond the final score of the game itself, but it's not even like passing the eye test, and it's gotten worse.
Yeah.
That's the worst part of it. It's gotten worse the past 3 years. It hasn't. I haven't seen that spark between year one, year two, year three, and even in Paul Winter's tenure, his first couple of years, it wasn't a linear progression. But you can look at those games and you can see where the improvement was coming from, and it had its ebbs and flows. I don't. I'm just not seeing the ebbs and flows. I'm seeing straight
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. So definitely a rough time for Wayne State football. Wanted to definitely get that out there because I wanted to wrap up everything I've kind of been talking about, which is, where do I stand on this make or break season? And this has been a make or break season. And I called out what those games were that I was looking at. And just kind of wanted to wrap up that situation. But that being said, it's not like we're skipping this Wayne State football game. We're going to be there. We're going to be tailgate. We're going to be doing all of our usual activities. We'll do a Ryan and Sangster on the tailgate to kind of close out the season, at least the home football season. And if you see us, come up, say hi to us. If you see us at this game, please come say hi to us. Ask us questions, challenge us on our opinions, on our thoughts, if you so choose. We're happy to have the conversation. But yeah, that's where we're at, Sangster, and that's what we have coming up. It is a ton. It is a action-packed weekend on campus. The best kind of weekends where everything is going on.
Yeah, for certain, it's America. Come talk to us. Certainly, we're open to fresh ideas. I like to think that we're right, and at the end of the day, this is opinion and it's sports.
Yeah,
It's not my
exactly.
opinion.
So
Uh, and also good time to announce. Yes, we will be at the Grand Valley game. We will also be at Northern Michigan as we've been to the UP since 2017. We're not stopping now. So,
nope, nothing stopped us.
annual
We were there in
UP.
2022. No football game. We were there though.
We still went. We went to the two bars that were open in Houghton, and we had a great time. So,
Yep, absolutely. So, yeah, lots of fun coming up for us, Sangster. Lots of fun this weekend for Wayne State action. Hoping for some good results here. Of course, as we mentioned, the professional basketball player Ray Williams Jr. will be keeping our eye on him just to see how he does, and I hope that he can make the roster for that. But with that being said, that's all we have for you, all of you, on episode 109 of the Warrior House Podcast.
and remember, it's always a great day to be a Wayne State Warrior. Hey there.